Hey guys, welcome back to Super Switch U. And to those of you in the US, happy Labor Day. Hopefully, you guys don't have to work. I was fortunate enough not to have to work, but I'm not getting paid either, like extra pay or whatever. I'm on paternity leave, so it's a fluke. It's a fluke for me. All my fellow Pepsi merchandisers, good luck. You're gonna need it. So, um, yeah. So today I want to cover two things because there's not a whole lot like in the news cycle to cover. There's a lot of rumors, speculations, just talking about the same old stuff. Um, but I would like to go over the very limited amount of Switch 1, or not Switch 1, Switch 2 releases. Switch 1 would be even more limited. Switch 2 releases for September, and then with the very high amount of leakers and stuff saying we're getting the September direct. I'd like to kind of go over some predictions for the major first party Nintendo games, things that I think might show up uh, that have not been talked about. Because I mean, obviously you're going to see Metroid Prime 4 again, hopefully with a release date this time. We may see some more on Age of Imprisonment. I don't know if we'll see Kirby. Um, because that's already gotten a 45-minute direct. We've seen basically everything. Um, so we're going to talk outside of those three things, what might show up based off of Nintendo's franchises and what games stay mostly current on different systems and any kind of curveballs of stuff that might show up that haven't been seen in a few years, that kind of thing. So um, let's just kind of jump in. I made a graphic for this, and I'll probably pull it up here in a minute or at the end, but it'll help keep me on track for the September releases once I find it. There we go. Okay. So there are 6 retail releases, a digital release, and one accessory that I want to cover because it's kind of neat and I would definitely like to try using it at some point. Um, the first thing we're going to get is on the 4th, which is Thursday, I think. Yeah, okay, so Thursday, we're getting Star Wars Outlaws. I know everybody's excited about another game key card, but sorry, I like just woke up and it's really dry, scratchy voice. um, the Star Wars Outlaws comes out on Thursday. I know people have talked a lot of crap about that game on other platforms. It doesn't run well. It's not great. Um, and we'll see if that does any better on Switch 2. I have no interest. Star Wars games are about a dime a dozen anymore, and they're hit or miss with me. Most of the things I like for Star Wars happened 20, 30 years ago. Um, After that, it just sort of seems like they're milking that cow dry. So, um, after that, the same week, this week, Daemon X Machina and NBA 2K26 come out on Friday the 5th. Daemon X Machina we've covered on this channel before. It is a true physical release, all on the cartridge. Set you back about $70 though, but that's I think the same price that it is on Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 as well. So it's not like you're getting screwed over any extra. It's just you can buy it on here. And once I figure out funding for that, I definitely plan to. The demo seemed kind of fun, so definitely on my list. But then NBA 2K26 is a key card. It's a basketball game. I don't know. They update it every year for new players, new teams, new lineups, slightly improve whatever gameplay. I don't play regular sports games. Never really enjoyed any of them. But then you give this like 5 to 6 years, it's going to be 99 cents at GameStop anyway. So what's the point to drop $70 for a key card for a sports game? I don't see the appeal. Um, we also have one digital only release on Friday. That's Chronos: The New Dawn, which is getting a physical release on platforms in October. but the digital release is September 5th. And then, of course, for us Switch 2 owners, we're getting a key card, and that's only going to go over terribly, right? Not just the fact that it's a key card, because I get some people will still buy the key card, but if you have to wait a month and a half to buy the key card or just get it digitally, sorry, you get it digitally in September, that almost seems like a no-brainer. Just buy the digital version. You're going to have the same thing either way. So, and then we're going to go most of September without anything, which seems kind of weird. But, yeah, week of the 7th through the 13th, which includes my birthday on the 12th, we got nothing. 14th through the 20th, there's absolutely nothing. But then the speculation on the 12th is that there's a direct, either the 11th or the 12th. But other than that, the 2-week period is empty. It's bare. It's nothing for Switch 2. Everything else happens on that last week. I did forget, though, those the accessory I want to talk about, the GameStop Joy-Con 2 mouse grip bundle. So you get one for each, and I think the same color scheme. That comes out on Wednesday the 3rd, so in like 2 days. It's like $20, I think. Just seems like it might make it, I don't know, maybe more comfortable to hold in mouse mode, because it's sort of weird and janky for big hands. And I wouldn't even say mine are like massive hands. I got like moderate hands. So anything bigger than mine, you guys are probably suffering with mouse control with those. Which I get it. You could just hook up a USB mouse if you really wanted to. But I don't got a lot of those sitting around. I got the one. It's just very basic. Anyway, let me open that calendar back up. It closed. There we go. Alright, so last week, the 21st through the 27th, they all come out. Well, not everything, but 2 things come out on Friday the 26th. And that's FC 26, which is the soccer game key card, and Pac-Man World 2 Repack, which is also a key card. But it's the cheapest key card. Whereas FC 26, I think, is a $70 game. Pac-Man is $30. It is the cheapest key card to come out. So if you got $30 and you just want to drop on something, that's probably going to be the most value for a key card you're ever going to get. And then Tuesday the 30th, there's one more, and it's digital only for the US, but it's a code in a box for Japan. And that's Final Fantasy Tactics, which I think Switch 1 is a physical, and then you can get the upgrade pack to Switch 2. So there's that. And that's it. Like, that's all we got. And here's the graphic. Just let that sit for a second. Because really, like, I fit it all in this tiny little space, and you can see it all clearly, and it's real nice and whatever. But that's it. That's all we've got for September. When I said that it looked absolutely bare, it's empty. So if something shadow drops from Nintendo in a direct, possibly on the 11th or 12th, this will change. But as of today, September 1st, this is what we have to look forward to. This is what I found across most things, because I looked at Play Asia too, and I was trying to pull, and that's why I pulled up the graphic for the code in the box version. It's because that's the only thing that showed up on Play Asia. So, I mean, I might be wrong, and if I am, definitely comment it down below. Let me know what I missed. But I mean, I checked eShop, I checked Nintendo's website, GameStop, Best Buy, all of it. That's what I found. That's what comes up. So, anyway, that's all I got on that. Let's close all these out and shrink up the camera view. And pull that over here. To get to, I pulled up a list of Nintendo franchises so I can help keep myself on track. Some of the things that might be likely to show up if a Nintendo Direct happens on the 12th or that week, or anywhere in September, just a general Direct. At this point, they would have to show us something that we don't know Switch 2, because we're down to 3 games. We know almost everything for Kirby. Like, there could still be some surprises, but we basically know we've got a release date, we've got a price, we've got gameplay and most of the modes and a lot of the characters. It's not going to be something that fills a lot of space in that show. We've seen almost everything for Metroid Prime 4 except for a release date and an official price. And then Age of Imprisonment, we've seen a few things. So like they could show some more and they could give us a release date and price, but I mean that's only so much. And if you're doing a general direct, typically you've got to show opener, you've got to show closer, and it's usually something Nintendo. It's usually something big, or some kind of big announcement like release dates and prices and whatnot. So, assuming that only Metroid Prime 4 might take one of those spots, it would probably be the opener because the closer is usually big and new and fancy. And then sometimes you might get a few things kind of scattered in between. So, immediate thought, because it's now been 5, almost 6 years since the Switch 1 came out, the version on Switch 1. Animal Crossing has a good chance of being in there. And not just being there, but being a show closer. Because it was like the second best selling game on Switch 1, I believe. And it's popular. And it got more popular thanks to COVID. So people came into the fan base from that, playing it, trying to live a life when you couldn't live a life. I don't know that you could ever recreate that specific success, but you could still have a really successful Animal Crossing on Switch 2. So even if there's no release date and it's just like 2026 or coming soon, I still expect to see an Animal Crossing, either this direct or in one of the upcoming ones, because they've had 5, almost 6 years to work on one since that one released. You go past a lot of these things like 1080 snowboarding, and I don't expect anything from Another Code or Balloon Fight or things like that. It's probably too early for a Big Brain or a Brain Age if they were going to do anything with that series, which they did a Big Brain in Switch 1, so it could come at some point this generation, especially with mouse controls. You could probably actually do some new neat stuff with that. I just don't expect it now. I expect that mid to late generation. I think if there's a chance for a Chibi Robo, it would not be early. It would be let the GameCube one kind of build up a new fan base, and then see how we do with that. Probably not much on the Pokemon side, because I feel like they would just do that on Pokemon Day. We just got a Donkey Kong, so I don't expect that either. Sorry, I'm going down the list. We're just going to talk about like all the major franchises, like Earthbound / Mother, like that. I don't expect that to come back. It has a cult following, but it's not enough to like revive the series. I think we can expect that to be dead. Kind of like Elite Beat Agents, Udon, Windon, something. I don't know the Japanese saying of the franchise, but Elite Beat Agents, I loved the DS game. We will never see that come back. That's dead. Endless Ocean got one on Switch. We might see it later in the generation, but that's been kind of recent. Actually, let me think on this. So we passed some stuff. Clubhouse games. No. Okay, so none of that. I don't expect any of that to have Switch 2 editions either, because I forgot about that. We could end up seeing a couple of Switch 2 editions, because now we've gone through everything except for Pokemon and Metroid Prime 4. Which to that should bring up something. There were 2 games announced for Switch 1 at that last Switch 1 Focus Direct. And they could have Switch 2 editions. That being Tamagotchi Plaza and... Or not Tamagotchi Plaza, Tamagotchi Life. I don't remember the title. I don't. I feel like I'm saying Tamagotchi's Plaza and mixing it. But Tamagotchi Life was getting a new game, and that could be Switch 2 edition. That very much could show up, because I feel like the mouse controls would really work well with that. reach and pick up your people and whatever, and like mess with them. Click on stuff to catch fire, or to like have something pop out of a thing. You could do a lot with that. And then Rhythm Heaven. You could do a mouse based Rhythm Heaven type mode to make that a Switch 2 edition. So either of those should show up, I would think. You know what would be a crazy thing to show up though? I'm not going to throw this out of the realm of possibility because it's early and they could have been messing around with some stuff and like the graphics and frame rate. Uh, Excite Bike, or just the Excite series, I think could show up in this generation. Small possibility in this direct, just because they seem to like to throw racing games into the beginning of Switch 2. It's a racing game machine at this point, right? Because you got Mario Kart, you got Kirby Air Rider, you got Ridge Racer, Fast Fusion, um, F-Zero GX in the GameCube thing. So yeah, it's been nothing but racing games. I could see them doing another one and just bringing back Excite, but realistically, probably not. Famicom Detective Club just made a weird reappearance. I don't think it's going to show up now. I think if it did any kind of numbers to come back and like stay back, they're probably working on that, if they're doing that at all. Fire Emblem is actually due for a game, so I do kind of expect that that could show up in some way. Whether it's a Fire Emblem Warriors game, which with Hyrule Warriors probably not at this point. But if it's a new entry or the remakes that we were supposed to be getting, like the Holy War or whatever, like something Fire Emblem, probably like a medium to a high chance of being there. I would be ecstatic for a Fire Emblem at this point because I love that series, and it would be new, like a new thing for Switch 2, because again, two of the major Switch 1 or Switch 2 Nintendo franchises that we've gotten have been racing games. It's been Mario Kart, and we're getting Kirby Air Ride. So it's racing, and then whatever you would consider Donkey Kong, action platform game, and then a warrior style game. Plus all your Switch 2 editions, which is a little hard to count that because it's Switch 1 plus a little bit. And so far, most of them have been a little underwhelming as far as what they've brought to the table. Even Kirby, I was hoping for so much more from Kirby, and unless I beat this last stage, because I'm literally at the last one showing me for the map. If they don't have like extra areas show up, it was 8 additional stages with no bosses added, and then just little modes and stuff here and there. And that's it. So I don't really count the Switch 2 editions as new games. They're just these neat little experiences to add on. So, yeah, for Switch 2 exclusives, we don't got a lot. So give us a Fire Emblem. Give us an F-Zero. We probably won't see that. I gave up hope on Wii U. Once the Wii U died, that was the last time I hoped for an F-Zero, right? Because Wii made sense with motion controls. They didn't give it to us. The tablet made sense because you could have had that extra screen be like looking at the panels and adjusting stuff and whatever. And you still had motion control. You could have added in. You could have added all the stuff to F-Zero. Nothing. So I didn't even have hope for it for Switch 1. I definitely don't have hope for it in Switch 2. But they could prove me wrong. Again, it's a racing machine. Might as well put F-Zero and Excite Bike and all that other racing stuff on there. Game & Watch isn't really much of anything to come back. Golden Sun's probably dead. Kid Icarus could, I guess. But it's been Sakurai that's been making those recently, right? He did the Uprising. So he's been working on Kirby Air Riders. So Probably not yet. If we get it, he's probably about to start working on it. Whether it's a HD remaster of the 3DS one, or it's if it's a brand new game or a remake or something, that's probably not started at this point. Kirby. I don't expect Kirby for much of anything at this point. One thing I expect Kirby for, and that's because it's been leaked and rumored a bunch, pretty much the entire year. And so, once we hit January 1st, I'm going to stop expecting this game. But until then, I got my fingers crossed. I'm hoping Kirby Planet Robobot was supposedly being HD remastered for Switch 1. It could still show up in this direct for Switch 1. It could show up for Switch 2 in this direct, and technically it'd be a new Kirby game. I mean, it's not new, but it'd be new for one of these two generations. And I mean, we did only get a Kirby Air Riders, so it's not out of possibility to show up. It's just that's a lot of Kirby. There's a lot of Kirby. We had the Switch 2 edition. We had Air Riders. Throw in Robobot, and that's a lot per year. I feel like they rarely ever do that outside of a anniversary of some kind. Let's see, Legend of Starfy seems sort of dead. Zelda could show up in some way. I don't expect it with Age of Imprisonment coming out. I don't think they would overshadow that particular game. And if we see something at all, I expect it in the 40th anniversary, and I still expect Twilight Princess to show up for its 20th anniversary, to be an HD or even a full remaster, whatever. I expect that to come back. Luigi's Mansion could show up. It's not technically a Mario. It's had enough games in its franchise to be its own thing. They could give us 4. They could give us 1 HD remaster. They could give us 3 Switch 2 edition, technically. I would hope not. That's a 6-year-old game. And I think the furthest back that they've pulled so far was... Well, no, because they gave us Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition. Basically, everything Switch 1 is on the table because of that. So, yeah, it could be 3 Switch 2 edition. It could be 2 HD Switch 2 edition, which God only knows what they'd put in there. Let's see. Mario Sports could, but we just got Mario Kart, so I feel like that's probably another couple of years before we see a baseball, a golf, a tennis, strikers. Mario Party, we just got Switch 2 edition. I don't expect a standalone new entry Mario Party for another couple of years. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, I think that's pretty much past its prime. I mean, they could do a digital only title, but I think Amiibos sort of ended that. Mario and Luigi, it's kind of living on a prayer at this point. So I don't expect that either. Mario and Sonic really isn't going to come back. Metroid, we've got Prime 4, so that's where it's going to die. Well, actually, no. No, I take that back. 2 and 3 remaster could happen. Just to give us all 3 before or just after 4. And I do say just after because with Pikmin, we had 3 ported to Switch 1. Then we got Pikmin 4. And then I think 1 and 2 came out after 4 did. So it's possible. It's possible they could still show up after Metroid Prime 4. It's like, okay, so now you've played this, so here's the story in between. Especially if Prime 4 story has nothing to do with 2 and 3 and it's just pulling from 1, then that would make more sense why they brought 1 over and not 2 and 3. If that made any kind of sense. Nintendogs would make sense with mouse controls. I think it's dead, though. I think Nintendogs is dead. What else? Paper Mario. We just got the HD remaster in 2024, I think. Like a year or 2 ago. They might be working on a new entry. Like, I'm not gonna say that wouldn't show up. It would surprise me if it did. But at this point, it would have to be new or the first one redone. I don't see them doing the Wii version or like the Super Paper Mario. I don't expect that coming back just yet. Um, Pikmin. I don't know. I mean, they could be working on Pikmin 5. I think it's still maybe too early after 4 came out with how long some of these game development times are. If we see Pikmin at all, and as much as I'm going to hate it, it's going to probably be for Switch 2 edition. Which would probably add some kind of new mode for multiplayer, maybe mouse controls throughout the game, which it makes sense. You could do a lot better aiming with where you're sending Pikmin and stuff with a mouse. So not too many other games what I say is kind of deserving of that addition. I just don't want to have to buy Pikmin 4 again. Which, again, you can always get the upgrade pack. So, like, to you guys that don't care about having everything on that cartridge, you got a cheap, easy way, like 10, $20. Boom, you get all the extra stuff. Never have to buy the game again. I would end up just buying the cartridge because I might be stupid. I might be too hooked into collecting Nintendo stuff to not do it. But that's just me. That's the prison that I live in. I don't see Pilot Wings coming back. Pokemon we would see in Pokemon Presents, so I don't expect a new thing from Pokemon. Punch Out. I maybe Punch Out's been kind of weird because it was NES and Super NES, and then it didn't show up for like 2 generations. It came back for the Wii, and then now it's been 2 generations since then. I mean, Switch 2 specifically doesn't really offer anything besides improved frame rate and graphics for Punch Out, because this wouldn't make sense for a boxing game. And game chat would only add so much. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's low. It's low on that possibility list, but it's not zero. Um, Pushmo probably not. Puzzle League's dead. Splatoon could show up if they decide to show more on Raiders, but I don't, because they updated Splatoon 3 to better graphics and frame rate. I don't think they're going to do a Switch 2 edition. So the only hope for that is to announce a 4, and that may be a little ways out. Since they're experimenting with Raiders, I feel like that's probably a little ways out. As much as I love Star Fox, I don't know that we're going to see Star Fox. I think that you people not supporting Star Fox Zero, you know who you are, who I'm pointing out at this point. That probably killed Star Fox, and I hate it because I liked Star Fox Zero, right? It may have had an issue here and there, but overall, especially with the extra screen gameplay and stuff, I thought that was amazing. I thought that added so much to it. It wasn't like the most impressive story because it kind of just was a retelling of the first one, but visually it looked great, and the handheld tablet controls were fantastic. I liked it. I would love to see that come back. I would love to see any of the Star Fox games get ported over because that's the only thing I'm missing right now. And it makes me regret getting rid of all of my retro collection, thinking, yeah, Switch 1 is going to be this all-in-one machine, and then now Switch 2 being backwards compatible only would have expanded on that. But we are missing Star Fox badly. And I just need one. Give us 64, give us Adventure, give us Assault. Even Zero would scratch that itch, and I'd be fine. I would have a Star Fox to play. But I don't expect it to show up. Now it's supposed to happen on my birthday. So Nintendo, if you hear this, understand that I want a Star Fox. Give me Star Fox for my birthday. Give me anything Star Fox. I mean, at this point, just give us Star Fox on GameCube online, Adventure or Assault, and I'll be slightly better now than I don't know. I'm just rambling about Star Fox at this point. Steel Diver died. Mario. Ugh. I say that because Mario itself, there's so much that they could do, and it's the 40th anniversary. I expect Mario. I expect something Mario. Again, and it could be a sports game, but I don't think they're going to do that for 40th. It could be a new Super Mario Bros. All Stars, new entry, Galaxy 2 remake, Wonder Switch 2 edition because it was new enough into the Switch 1 lifetime. I expected at this point that they'll add something, even if it's like Super Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 edition plus Super Luigi Wonder. That would be fantastic. Don't go and like call me crazy just yet. It's like a whole new set of stages and they're just sort of like changed or whatever. But with Luigi, it'd be perfect. But probably not that. But a Switch 2 edition of some sort. Smash Bros. It could. It very much could. The last one came out in 2018. And even though the DLC didn't stop till a few years back, that was still 7 years, almost 8 years ago. So I almost expect, even if it's like they did with the Wii U and they didn't have something to show, but they're like, hey, so Smash Bros. Is in development for Switch 2. They show us nothing, but they just put the emblem up top, or like they give us tiniest little teaser of like, this character's joining the roster. I kind of a little bit expect it. Because Smash Bros. Is still a system seller. Even though it's not the top anymore, because apparently that's Mario Kart and Animal Crossing, it's still a system seller. And it's been long enough since the last one that there could be one at the very least in development. So, yeah, I actually do have some expectation for mentioning Smash Bros. We talked about Tamagotchi, and it probably will show up as a Switch 2 edition because that seems to be the way that they stretch out the library right now, because there's so many gaps and holes in the Switch 2 game releases that you just sprinkle in the Switch 2 editions, and some people forget that there's not actual games coming out for these long stretches of time. Like going from July for Donkey Kong Bonanza, and you don't get another full retail game until Kirby Air Riders in November. That's kind of a long stretch, but they sprinkled in Mario Party, Kirby, Forgotten Lands, Pokemon Legends ZA. And suddenly it's like, oh yeah, you got some more stuff to play. Do you though? I could have bought that on Switch 1. But it's just me. One thing I do expect though, that's going to be kind of out of left field, I expect Wario somewhere in the next year or two, even if it's like it could be this direct, it could be the next direct. Wario would show up somewhere, and probably not a Wario Land or a Wario World because I think those are dead. But WarioWare, you're telling me you bring in a mouse, and WarioWare doesn't make sense, and the fact that the last WarioWare we got, WarioWare Move It, was basically a successor to WarioWare Smooth Moves from the Wii, because it was so focused on all the different poses and motion controls and stuff with the Switch 1 Joy-Cons. And you're telling me they wouldn't bring back WarioWare DIY, or DIY. I got dyslexia. The do-it-yourself Wario from the DS. where you built the mini games. And they wouldn't bring that back for the mouse control system of Switch 2. You'd be a fool. You'd be a fool not to suspect it. I expect something similar, whether it's a spiritual successor to DIY or just brand new mini games that take advantage of mouse controls and all the things that they've been doing with that. WarioWare has a decently high chance of showing up in this direct. I expect it. The Famicom Wars, Advance Wars series, I don't know, because Advance Wars, I don't know that it did as well as they needed it to. So, probably not. Wii series is dead. Xenoblade Chronicles. It could. It could. I don't know that it's been long enough since 3 for a new game, and they have now ported every Xenoblade Chronicles game to Switch 1. So, chances are it's not. They might update Xenoblade Chronicles X to run better, but they're not. I don't even expect a Switch 2 edition because that's a Wii U port. I don't see them throwing more stuff in. And at the very bottom of the list, Yoshi. I could see a Yoshi. Probably not. Maybe next year, or like a couple of years. I could see a Yoshi. The last one we got was Yoshi's Crafted World. And that was 2018 or 2019. So 6 to 7 years ago. It could be Woolly World being ported over just to give Switch 1 something else. Or put it to Switch 2 to give us a Yoshi game on Switch 2. That could always happen. Or it could just be a new one. It could just be a brand new Yoshi game. But I don't know. So to just quickly recap before we're done, my highest 5 predictions: Animal Crossing, obviously. Try not to keep you guys up that long, but all right. So Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, and it's not anything specific. It's a new Animal Crossing, not a Switch 2 of no Switch 2 edition Animal Crossing. I mean like brand new Animal Crossing, F-Zero or not F-Zero, yeah, F-Zero, yeah, Fire Emblem of some sort. Kirby Planet Robobot, very specific on that. I want to be real careful with the next things that I say. WarioWare. Pikmin 4 Switch 2 Edition. That's my 5 picks with a mention of Smash Bros. Not actual gameplay, just mentioning it being in production. That's it. That's what I got as a prediction for what is still rumor mill Switch 2 General Direct. That's fine. It's fine. Like we should. There's too many gaps and too many unknowns to not have one, even though I think I said this for July and August, and now I've been proven wrong twice. But, what's the third time to be proven wrong? But anyway, that's what I got. So let me know what you guys think down below, if you agree with anything that I said, if you have your own predictions for what would show up in a September Direct. And I only covered Switch to Nintendo franchise, like first-party games, because third-party is so open that they could literally do anything. They could. There's a ton of companies that could do remasters, collections, ports, remakes, brand new series, bringing over stuff just from PS5, Xbox Series. Like all of that could come over. The possibilities on that are like infinite. And I don't even know where to start. but the best I could give you guys was Nintendo franchises and my top 5 thoughts. Plus, they're gonna mention Smash Bros. Um, but if you guys have other thoughts, for sure, let me know in the comments. We could talk about it. We could just give your thoughts, judgment free from me. I can't guarantee you other people. Some people are jerks, but I will not judge. Just share my opinions. That's it. So let me know. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't, because would love to hit 1,000 subscribers, and we are more than halfway to 1,000. We're just not really moving at a good pace. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell notification button so you can be notified of upcoming videos, because they are so very inconsistent, except for the Let's Play Tabletops. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.